Lucy, and this is episode 2 of Waffling About Topics that I really like. So, the 1995 film Batman Forever is the third instalment in the Batman film series directed by Joel Schumacher. It stars Val Kilmer as Batman, and this movie attempted to transition from Tim Burton's darker vision of Gotham City while still maintaining its gothic roots. Many people complained that Batman Returns was too dark and scary, and it actually stirred up quite a lot of controversy, so Joel wanted to make this film have a campier tone and just remind people more of the comic book. With its amazing cast, visually striking set designs, and a more light-hearted tone, Batman Forever aimed to appeal to wider audiences. In this retrospective, I'm going to delve into the strengths and the weaknesses of the film. Just for a quick plot overview, the plot centres around Batman's encounters with Two-Face, played by Tommy Lee Jones, and the Riddler, brilliantly portrayed by Jim Carrey. While Kilmer delivers a decent performance as Bruce Wayne, his portrayal lacks the depth and intensity Michael Keaton or Christian Bale had in previous films. But Jim Carrey steals the show with his wild and charismatic depiction of the Riddler, which is my personal favourite casting choice of this movie, and maybe even any Batman movie. He brings in a lot of his own personal comedic style that you see in a lot of his own films, but he manages to mix them with cheesy comic book villains, and I feel like he does a really good job. So the first thing I want to talk about is the visuals and the set design. One aspect where Batman Forever truly shines is its visual aesthetic. The neon-lit streets of Gotham City blend really well with its gothic architecture, and it really just creates a surreal backdrop for the film, which is something that we don't see as much in newer Batman films. Don't get me wrong, they have their own aesthetic and they do it well, but this film is just so beautifully made and really managed to bring the comic book to life. So the next thing I want to talk about is the soundtrack. I'm not going to talk too much about the music. Another standout feature is Elliot Goldenthal's score that perfectly captures the essence of both the heroism and villainy. His music intensifies the key moments throughout the film and just perfectly enhances the tension during the action sequences, whilst also providing emotional depth during the more character-driven scenes. So next is the themes and the message. So this film isn't as thought-provoking as some Batman films. It doesn't have too many deeper themes, but it does explore themes of duality and the psychological struggles faced by its characters. It delves into Batman's internal conflict between his alter ego and the human side of Bruce Wayne, as well as Two-Face's struggle with his split personality. Now it's time for the flaws and the criticisms. Despite its strengths, Batman Forever does have a couple of weaknesses that hinder its overall impact. The film suffers from an inconsistent tone. It goes between the dark and the campy moments, which I find is a similar problem in Batman and Robin, which I have talked about on this channel. This attempt to appeal to a broader audience sometimes sacrifices the depth and character development and just replaces it with funny moments for a throwaway laugh. Also, certain plot points feel rushed or underdeveloped. I feel like we never really got to understand the motives behind the villains, and in order to connect with the characters, we need to understand why they're doing what they're doing. It just left audiences craving more substance and more story. In retrospect, Batman Forever may not reach the heights of previous Batman films or fully embrace the darker elements of Gotham City, but it remains an enjoyable film that successfully balances the action-packed sequences with the visually stunning set designs. So whilst it is flawed in its execution at times, it does deserve credit for breathing new life into the franchise, whilst also paving the way for future iterations. Batman Forever is a nostalgic reminder of the 90s superhero cinema and a stepping stone in Batman's cinematic journey. Everything being said, Batman Forever is actually my favourite Batman film of all time. It is so nostalgic and visually stunning, but to every good movie, there's going to be flaws.